Cricket is my passion and I cannot avoid it. Assalamu alaikum, good evening, namaskar to one and all. The first test match might have ended in a draw, but till we went to the last day, it could have been anybody's game. Probably India were slight favorites requiring 150 runs, but rain had the final say. To discuss about it, I have my star-studded panel, Naresh from Pune, Gurkirat from Delhi, and our own Charvi from UAE. Welcome to all of you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anil.
Thank you, sir.
Charvi, we missed you last time, so let me ask you the first question. Do you think India would have pulled off a win on the last day?
Would have been tough considering the conditions, and I would not want to take away anything from the English bowlers. They have bowled considerably well in the first innings also, and they would have pulled up a good show because it's a home ground. So it would have been anybody's game. And yes, India would have had a fair chance, but then there were some of our top order batsmen who were not resilient in the first innings when they came out to bat. So giving the conditions a little bit of, let's say here that the conditions at the end of the day won. So perhaps they would have been in a situation where it could have been anybody's game.
Okay. Gurkirat, do you agree to what our friend Charvi is saying from UAE, or do you beg to differ? Can India would have romped England?
So firstly, I want to say that my prediction of a draw due to weather came true. But
wow. Very true.
So I'd say that India was 60-40 going into day 5 because, the last time India had chased 200 overseas was back in Adelaide 2003. And but Trent Bridge is an exception. If you look at the last 5 test matches that India and England have played at Trent Bridge, batting tends to become easier. You look at 2002, India scored more runs in their second innings as opposed to their first innings. 2007, when India won at Trent Bridge, England scored 350 odd in the third innings after being bundled out for under 200 in first innings. 2011, similar pattern. Both the teams didn't score 300 runs in the first innings, but then England scored 500 in the third innings. 2014, Joe Root and James Anderson had a partnership of 200 runs on the fourth day. So Trent Bridge is a venue where batting tends to become easier as the match progresses. It was a similar case in 2018 as well, when England had been bundled out for 300 odd in the fourth innings and India had set a target of 500. So that's why I say that it was 60-40 in India's favor, because Trent Bridge does get easier to bat, but then with the rain and the cloud cover, it could have been, you couldn't have said that it was a cakewalk. England were well within a chance as well. So I'd say 60-40, but the team that would be happier with the draw, that would be England. I'd still say that.
We welcome our dear friend all the way from Haryana. Am I right, Diya?
Yes.
Okay. I'll just come to Naresh first. Naresh, both our analysts, Charvi says it would have been not so easy for India. Naresh says, rather, Gurkirat says Trent Bridge could record batting second. What's your viewpoint? India would have chased or India would have struggled?
It would have been not an easy chase, but India would have chased, because the way they started 52 for 1 was very good at the end of day 4. And honestly, day 4 was the best day to bat in the entire test. Day 4 and day 1. And on both the days, England batted. In one they lost the advantage, in the second they kind of gained the advantage. But I think it was Bumrah's spell with the new ball, where we were not chasing a 250 plus, we were chasing a 209. So I feel that would have been more confidence to India that on last day 157 would have been chased. And I agree that England would be feeling relieved and India would be feeling disappointed, because this was really, really a good chance for India to go 1 up. Beginning of the series, going 1 up is really good in a 5-test series.
Okay. Haryana की कुड़ी क्या कहना चाहेगी?
Fourth innings chase is definitely not easy, and in 2018 as well, we saw the way England has stopped India twice from chasing at subpar total of 250. So knowing the past records, it wasn't going to be easy. But I guess Gaba test has definitely spoiled all of us, and we still had our hopes. But it all came down to how Pujara, Ajinkya Rahane, and Virat Kohli were going to perform, because they have been the backbone of our batting and they haven't been able to deliver. we saw our like lower batting order performing that well. Like that, like this is one of the first time that I witnessed it. So that was very amazing to see. And still we had our hopes, because I mean the way KL Rahul played, like hats off to him for the 80 odd runs that he scored, 85 I guess, and he looked very well poised in that innings, in his first innings. And the way Stuart Broad got him out, like, was a great effort, was a great display of skill set by him. So I guess it was not going to be easy, knowing it was the fourth innings. Although the pitch could have eased out, but I guess if the as the fate would have had it, it was going to be a draw. With, like, I think it was an evenly poised test match. Like it could have gone any side, anyway. But yeah, it ended up in a draw.
Okay, all analysts having a difference of opinion, but nonetheless, that's why analysts are analysis. They can't have the same opinion. So let me now come to Charvi. The big question after India declared the squad on the first day, dropping Ashwin was the right decision. Okay, now let's not talk about what happened after 5 days, but your instant thought when India's squad was laid out. So let's not talk about what happened in the game. Let's talk about आपका reaction उस वक्त क्या था?
I was, to be honest, I was a little taken aback, thinking, most times on a more traditional basis, you would just be like, I need the most experienced players on my side. And when we know we've got such an expansive test series, being, coming from the loss of the World Test Championship final, and I'm coming into a test series, and we want to still keep our rankings high, and, all the other supporting aspects that are important, which are external at this point of time. But yes, it did come as a shock, though the result is a neutral result, but having Ashwin on the side would have made a lot of difference. But if we look at the bowling card, Jadeja being the only spinner, was the only who only bowled 3 overs. So it wasn't like he had a major role to play. But a wet wicket, overcast conditions, probably having, instead of Shardul Thakur, having Ashwin on the side would have helped. But again, then we are experimentative. We've got 5 matches. Let's give it a shot. We'll see how he does. And then we'll probably, revamp our playing 11 for the next test match. So there could be a lot of things where India would be playing their cards.
Okay. गुरकीरत, आपका ये प्रेडिक्शन तो रॉन्ग था कि अश्विन साहब खेलेंगे. आपका वो प्रेडिक्शन सही था कि ड्रॉ होगा. तो अश्विन को जब बिठाया गया, जब वो प्लेइंग 11 विराट कोहली ने कहा, were you taken aback or were you said नहीं यार बहुत सही डिसीजन लिया है?
No, I was surprised because see, on the 4th day when England were batting in the second innings, the slight inferiority of the Indian bowling as opposed to how they had played in the last 2 years showed, because they were not only missing Ashwin, they were missing Ishant Sharma as well. In the first, I know Siraj took wickets, but in the first innings, Siraj gave runs at 4 runs per over. He bowled 12 overs for 48. In the second innings, Mohammad Shami bowled for 4
Horribly,
runs an over. For 15 overs, 64 runs. So, there is no scenario where you can not have both Ashwin and Nishant, purely because of the control that they provide when the bowling conditions are tougher and batting is relatively easy. India missed both Ishant and Ashwin in the second innings. Ravindra Jadeja also hasn't been used much as a bowler. He wasn't given a lot of bowling in the WTC final, and he wasn't given a lot of bowling in this test match as well. First innings, he hardly bowled 3 overs, and in the second innings, he bowled 13 overs, out of which 2 came just before the new ball. So somewhere there's also a lack of confidence, I feel, in Jadeja's bowling skills, which makes all the more reason to play Ashwin purely as a spinner, even if he's not contributing with the bat, which is not true because he's had a turnaround of sorts. He's a very good number 8. And if you look at the other 3 paces, apart from Bumrah, be it Shardul, be it Shami, or be it Siraj, there have been phases where all 3 of them were inconsistent. They were bowling good lines, but were giving a boundary away. My feeling is that at any point of time, you do need one of Ashwin or Ishant in the bowling lineup just to be able to control the flow of runs, if not take wickets on difficult bowling conditions or in difficult bowling conditions, which is why I was slightly surprised. The one thing which I think becomes even more clearer after this test match is that this team can only afford one proper all-rounder, and that is Ravindra Jadeja. If you want to play 4 paces, then Jadeja plays because of the balance he provides. If you want to play 3 paces, then Ashwin has to play. Because I don't see any other way around it. Because if Ashwin doesn't play, your spin bowling does become slightly lighter. Jadeja isn't the same bowler as Ashwin is, and Ashwin isn't the same batsman that Jadeja is. So I don't see how this lineup of 4 pacers and Jadeja is sustainable even in this series, because had India been bowling second, we might have needed Ashwin on the day fifth to bowl out England, because bounce was becoming slightly variable, and the swing had gone out completely. The average swing in the first innings was 1.9 degrees, then it came down to 1.5 degrees, then it came to below 1 degrees. So without swing, you need your spinners to come into play when there's variable bounce, and someone like Ashwin would have taken full toll of it.
Okay, now Naresh, both the analysis, Charvi and Gurkira, has said that India made a mistake. Now we come to the point. You have picked one spinner. Why is Jadeja under bowled? Like you saw in the WTC final also, you have hardly made him bowl. And you saw on that wicket that Ashwin was your main spinner. So I want an answer for both. One, why is he under bowled? And when you know Ashwin is your main bowler, that's a big, big decision taken by the think tank. Sometimes it's commendable had India won the test match. But in hindsight, I probably feel we missed, like Gurkirat said, had Ashwin been there, England wouldn't have scored 300. Do you agree to that?
Yeah, as everyone felt at the toss when the team was announced, it was such a surprise not to see Ashwin in the lineup. Was waiting to hear someone say that he has a niggle, he has an injury, but I don't think anyone said that. There were more guesses than the actual reality. So the fact is that he was not part of the game plan for this test. Highest wicket taker in the last WTC for India. That's surprising. And Ashwin and Ishant together 700 wickets out of the side, whereas Anderson brought 1100 wickets in the side. So these are few of the things to look at. But after the end of day one, when India got them all out, I felt this decision was more to do with Mayank Agarwal's injury. Mayank Agarwal's injury, because you are playing KL Rahul to open, who is going to open after years, and he's in the side as a middle order. You want to bat deep. And the toss is Jadeja a better batsman than Ashwin? The answer is yes. And a left-hander. Jadeja has been in the side as a lower order batsman who can bowl a bit. That's the new definition of Jadeja. And in the first inning, he wasn't required. In the second inning, yes, again on the fourth day, when I felt that Ashwin would have done better. Jadeja bowled a little more on that day. But yeah, he couldn't turn much. This could backfire sometime, but the defense today for India is that the medium pace or the seamers got all the 20 wickets. But you cannot go on with this risk throughout. You can be choosy for Ashwin. Maybe you can extend Ashwin playing right up to the end of this World Test Championship. That's the only thing I see, because we don't have a good quality off spinner to replace him.
Just another thing that I want to add. I think what also went against Ashwin was in the English top 8, there were only 2 left-handers, Rory Burns and Sam Curran. So that also played a part that, okay, although it would be quite unfair to say that Ashwin doesn't do well against right-handers. We know what he did versus Steven Smith in Australia. But I think, that is where also the team management felt that if there are enough right-handers, then Jadeja can exploit whatever help that is there. I think that also.
Another thing is Ben Stokes ne to Ashwin ko kyun khilana?
Anyway, Dia, you know what? Naresh had a different point of view. But imagine you are Ravichandran Ashwin, highest wicket taker in the last WTC. Highest wicket taker, if I'm not wrong, in the last series against England. If I'm not wrong, he was ahead of maybe the left arm spinner. What was his name from Gujarat? Patel. So, how would you take this? Would you take it on your chin and move ahead? Yes, no. The conditions were not good. That's why I was dropped. Or will it dent your confidence?
I think with a bowler experience as him, this shouldn't be hindering his confidence to that extent, because if you are playing for Team India, you are a team player, and what goes in favor of the team, you should accept it and move on. And Kohli, like as everyone talked about it, Kohli also mentioned that the Trent Bridge combination is what they're going to go ahead with. So it's going to be the same template, which means I don't see any changes, maybe except for Ishant. That is, like, I really think that it's going to be a 4-1 pace attack for us, that only one spinner we'll see playing. maybe for the next 2 test matches as well. So and I think they are considering the fact that the kind of the pitch that in England that is there, you need more like a better pace attack that India has got. So maybe that's what can be the reason. And Jadeja is there in the team purely because of his batting. I think if he like plays as a batsman like that, I guess would work for the team as well, if not for his bowling. So if that is what the team is thinking about, they should persist with it, because Virat Kohli's captaincy has always been criticized over the fact that he never persist with the same combination that he got. So I think if we persist with this playing 11, or let's say we bring in Ishant Sharma for Shardul Thakur or Mohammad Siraj, then that let's see how that combination works for us. And there shouldn't be much chipping and changing for me as of now. Although, like as everyone mentioned, I would have also wanted Ashwin to play as but yeah, it is what it is, and I think there shouldn't be any changes in the next test match. And Kohli also mentioned the same in the press conference, post-match press conference. So I don't see any changes.
So Dia says she doesn't see any changes going into the test match. Lords, that means she's fine. Ashwin bahar baithe. Now, Charvi, everybody is talking about rain ruled out India's win probability. But don't you think it was Joe Root who was the main guy? Because he was the only guy who scored highest in both the innings. Probably, maybe Rahul scored a little more runs in the first innings compared. But he almost scored 200 runs in the test match. So how do you get Joe Root out? Because he's been a nemesis in the first test in Chennai. And again, he proved, and I remember talking to these guys, that he's not scored runs. All these three people had said that Joe Root ne run nahi banaya. But not because I scored, he scored runs. But he again stood like a wall, and India could not get past him unless he scored 100 or scored 80. क्या करना चाहिए Joe Root को out करने के लिए?
Again, on the particular day, what mistakes Joe Root may or may not make, we can't predict, because there could be a very slight error that he might misjudge the ball. Perhaps he might edge the ball moving out. Unfortunately, he might get hit on the pads. So on any given day, we may not be able to say कि ये गलती जो रूट ने कर ली, यही गलती वो दोहराएगा. Maybe a little bit of an analysis, probably watching his previous videos. Rather, the team needs to sit down together, especially the core bowling unit would want to sit down together and watch his entire innings in this previous game to see what are the chances that they can create for themselves. When you have a batsman that stands like a wall like that, you don't look for an error, but you create a loop, or you create a situation where he makes the error and you capitalize on that error. So you build it up. We build it up. We set him, we set him on that path to make that error, to make that mistake. With players like Joe Root, that is perhaps a trick. You set him up to go towards that side. Create a situation where he will edge the ball. Create a situation where it will be a half hit. And have the right fielders in the right position. At the same time, I would want to also say, because we were talking a little bit about who's going to be the playing 11. Are we going to have Ashwin and Ishant Sharma in? Probably yes, in place of Shardul Thakur and Mohammad Siraj. You probably want to bring them in, because then they will be an essential asset to the playing 11, which will play at Lords, considering conditions, considering the pitch at Lords. Again, we are looking at some overcast conditions as well in that week. But hopefully, let's hope that the weather gods, they listen to us, and we have a result, and we have a power-packed 5 days of Test cricket.
All right, Gurkirat, let me now just twist the question to you. Like Chavi mentioned, we need to build up to something where we can get Joe Root. And I remember watching one of the, they have a third man in Sky Sports, where they talk about how Joe Root gives his wicket away when he gets leg before LBW, when he tries to play across the line. You bowl straight to him. Do you think there's a chink in his arm? Gurkirat, did you hear me?
One thing that you have, yeah. So, if I'm not wrong, India, when Joe Root had come to India, that was the plan by the Indian pacers as well, to get him LBW out or get caught at short mid wicket. Mohammad Siraj's plan was the same, was pretty much the same. The only difference was between his execution and Ishant Sharma's execution was that Ishant Sharma, was not giving any width to Joe Root, which is something that Mohammad Siraj did eventually give Joe Root, and hence gave him run scoring opportunities. I have a stat that, and this was before the World Test Championship, that while playing the cut shot, Joe Root has scored 675 runs and only gotten out 5 times. So one thing that you have to do is you have to stop giving any sort of room to Joe Root. You have to ensure that the ball is always landing up around the fourth stump. So somewhere between the middle stump and the fourth stump. Make him play in the V or make him play across his pads, which is how the likes of Pat Cummins have gotten him out. Mohammad Shami has gotten him out this way in England. Ishant Sharma has gotten him out this way on the last two. So that is one thing that India have to do completely. And when now this execution of the plan becomes a little difficult with someone like Ravindra Jadeja alone, because Ravindra Jadeja's natural bowling and natural angle is a ball that will go away from Joe Root and hence give him room to drive or play the card. This is where someone like Ashwin has to come in and probably try a around the wicket angle where the ball is pitching middle and off and then ending on the middle stump. So either he has to sweep from the stumps, which is a risk anyway, and if he's able to nail that risk, then hats off to him. Or he continues to play in front of his pad and stops and plays the waiting game. If he does still play the waiting game and score runs, then you have to give credit to him. But this is how your plan should be. You cannot be giving any room to Joe Root through whichever way possible, whether it be a pacer or a spinner.
Naresh, let me just turn the question now. Rahane's form, even though he found a different way to get out this time, like from the ball one, it felt like he wanted to get run out. He already was missed once. Would you think of going ahead with another batsman, whether it is Surya Kumar, which I feel it's too early, or just get in that dasher Prithvi Shaw, or bring it a bit more calmer in Vihari?
What has happened is we only saw one inning of this 3-4-5 batsmen. So I think the second test we would have the same batting lineup. But another failure is when I think at least Rahane could be replaced. It's not only about Vihari. The way KL Rahul has opened, he has now opened up a new option because he was supposed to be that middle order. India may not look at pushing him down for Mayank Agarwal, but Mayank Agarwal batted at number 5 in Gaba, though we had no options left but to take him in the 11, after his failure as opener. So Rane, I think, is under pressure now. We need to see another inning from him. He didn't get this opportunity because of the washout. But yes, as you said, he's getting different ways of getting out. He could have been run out even a couple of overs prior to the actual run out. I think...
All right. Yeah, I'm hearing you, Naresh. I'm hearing you.
Yeah. So that is what KL Rahul has done well. I think if fit, KL Rahul would be playing all the 5 tests. He's giving that flexibility to be even moved around in the batting lineup. And I think Rohit Sharma feels a little more comfortable with KL at the top along with him because both to be considered senior members of the squad, even if they have played less test matches abroad. So I think KL is the one who has done a lot of justice for himself with this selection and has opened up more of options now in case of failure, especially Rahane. I don't see Rahane playing all the 5 tests.
All right, Chavi, do you feel he will get another chance, even though it's just one failure because the second innings did not come around? Or will you go in and for the kill and try and get a dasher in Prithvi Shaw or a calmness in probably Vihari?
I think this is going to be a little debatable considering Rahane's form over the last couple of test matches. We've seen an extreme, either he does very well or he doesn't do well at all. So the graph has been quite extreme in Rahane's case. Perhaps, like we said that, it's a test at Lords, they might want to bring in someone like Prithvi Shaw because knowing the fact that India might want to bat early, they might want to be the first ones to bat. They would win the toss, bat first, have a mammoth of a total, then they would want someone like Prithvi Shaw. If they are looking to bowl first, then they probably are going to go for Vihari or they'll go with the same batting lineup. Perhaps give Rahane another chance, considering whatever the result for this particular game was. But in my opinion, I think they need to choose between Vihari and Shaw, depending on what strategy, which player would suit the strategy the best for whatever India is looking up forward to, depending on conditions and keeping everything else in mind.
All right, Dia, I missed you on the last question because the frames keep changing and I'm not able to remember who was in queue. Anyway, I asked this question to both Naresh and Charvi. Will you pick Rahane for the next match or will you give him one more chance? Are you there?
Well, yeah, I am there. Of course, he has to be given the chance. Like it's in Lords, like the next Test match, and he has got a Lord century, although it was way back. But like he should carry that confidence that he has his name at the Lord's Honors Board. So I think he should definitely be given a chance, not just based on that, but like maybe one final chance I guess he deserves as the vice captain of our team, of the Test cricket team. So he'll be given a chance, and I really don't see any changes in the batting lineup as of now, whether it's Pujara, whether it's Rahane. But I think the way KL Rahul has batted, he really has, as Naresh sir also mentioned, that he has really opened up this very competition among the openers as well as the middle order batsmen that are there, and the kind of flexibility that he carries, KL Rahul, it's going to be tough for Rahane this time. But he will play the second Test match for sure.
Kirat, I remember you saying Rahane is going to score 100 and he found a way to get run out. He's your favorite player to go for. Would you retain him for the second Test match or would you get somebody else in?
If India had lost this Test match, I'm pretty sure that he would have been dropped. But because India have not lost this Test match and they were in a strong position going into day 5, I think he'll get another name. Also, like Dia mentioned, there's
Lord's 100.
this thing where you feel that players have confidence of grounds if they've performed well, and Rahane has had a very good 100 at Lords, so that might also help his case. But yeah, I mean, it's now becoming increasingly frustrating because your vice captain, someone who's played more than 70 Test matches, cannot be finding new ways to get out every third innings. Sometimes you just play the ball straight into the hands of the fielder who's been brought in for the last ball. Sometimes you find a way to get run out. And also, before 2020, Rahane had never been run out in Test matches. But in New Zealand, he was involved in a run out with Rishabh Pant. In Adelaide, he was involved in a run out with Virat Kohli. In Melbourne, he got himself run out while batting with Ravindra Jadeja. And in the last game, he got run out once again. So there have been 4 important run outs in the last 1.5 years. That explains that there is so much of clutter in his batting and in his mindset. You see the first 30 balls, the way he plays it. It's like he could get out any minute in those first 30 balls. Once he's played those 30 balls, okay, now he's much more assured at the crease and can bat time. But again, when you feel that okay, he's going to play a big one or he's going to score 100, then he again plays some rash shot or the other, which leaves you so frustrated with his dismissal that you tend to forget that he's actually batted well. So it's time. I think someone from the team management sits with him, shows him a compilation of his dismissals since New Zealand, and tell him that okay, you're better than this, and the team needs you to do better than this. You cannot be getting run out when 3 wickets have fallen in a space of 7 runs, and you get run out looking for a quick single. That's the worst way to get out. It's genuinely the worst way to get out. So it's time that he shows some responsibility, which is desperately needed from him for the team's sake.
Naresh, tricky question to all of you all coming, okay? We've had a problem with Pujara, we've had a problem with Rahane, we've had a problem with Virat. If you see their last probably 8 or 10 innings, they average less than, some are below 25, some are around 27, 28. Now we are talking about Rahane and we probably also spoke about Pujara. Now imagine Virat Kohli keeps on scoring ducks. Okay, he's a captain. Will the team management take that gutsy decision to drop Kohli if he fails for 4 Test matches?
Not this series. At the end of the series, something would happen back home. But this series, I think.
I know I'm asking this question far too early. Maybe he might score 100 and shut me up. But my question was, आप Rahane की बात कर रहे हो, जिसने रन नहीं बनाए, पुजारा ने भी रन नहीं बनाए from the Australian series, and विराट कोहली ने तो वो सीरीज खेला नहीं था. तो अगर विराट कोहली भी भाई साहब अगर ऐसे फेल होते रहे, we're talking about from 2018 100 है. So will you stick to him because he's the captain?
No, that's what, if Ashwin cannot play, it's the same, you have to use the same yardstick, but yeah, you may get a more, length of an opportunity to prove or to make a comeback. And that's where I feel this entire series, you won't see that any change happening. But yeah, after the return, probably. And also depends on the outcome of the series. You may have zeros from Virat, but you may still end up winning the series. It could have happened in this test. Also, we could have won the test. But yeah, hard decisions probably need to be taken, because this, or you can say something has already started as a culture that Ashwin was not played, Ishant was not played. So seniority, stats are not being looked at. It's the situation, the conditions, and what is your best 11 who could win you a game. So yes, some decisions, hard decisions in those respect should apply also to Virat Kohli.
Yeah,
It's a cultural,
you are the selector.
Yeah.
You are the selector, Dia, and I know your Virat Kohli is your favorite. But he keeps on scoring ducks or scoring 10s or 20s, which he's been doing. For example, less 3 tests. And Naresh says if India loses, will you drop him for the 4th test? Or will you stick to him? Ki bhaiya kaptan hai, highest scorer hai India ke liye as of today in the current Indian team.
Well, in 2014, that was the worst, like one of the worst periods of Virat Kohli. Like till he was not even the captain of the team. So if at that moment he could have been persisted with, then why not this time? I mean, it's not like his technique has changed or something of that sort. Like, of course, the way like Anderson took his wicket, it was one of a peach deliveries that was like the way Virat Kohli got out. Like I got a flashback of 2014. That is one thing that is there. But even against England, it was not like he was scoring 10, 20 odd runs. He scored 60, 70 odd runs in difficult conditions. So we can't actually blame.
His average is below 25, just for your knowledge, in the last 7 innings.
I would not want to go on to the averages. I would just want to see the match situation in which he has played and if the team has gotten out from the difficult conditions or not. And I guess most of the times it was Virat Kohli who was able to, with his batting against England as well, make us get out of the difficult situations and batting in tough batting situations. So that is one thing that I'll definitely consider. And still, the series is not over. I know we have been waiting for 100 since a very long period of time. It's just a jinx or something that is holding up. He just needs to break those shackles for one time, and we'll get that Virat Kohli back from 2016, 2018 Virat Kohli. It's just 101 good knock that we need from him, and I guess we will see that Kohli back, King Kohli back. So he should be given a chance, like no doubts about it.
Okay, it's like the England say when the World Cup is coming. So maybe Virat Kohli's 100 is coming. We all hope it's coming. I'll quickly jump to all 4 of y'all. Gurkirat, first to you. You're playing 11.
2 changes.
Lord's Test match.
2 changes. Shardul and Siraj go out. Ishant and Ashwin come in. And just slight disagreement with Dia that I don't think it was a great ball. I think it was a poor shot on Virat's part to get out the way he did. He had no business fishing that delivery. It was on the 5th stump. It was just completely his fault.
So would you drop him or would you retain him? Baat hi kar rahe ho Virat ki. After 3 test matches,
for this series, you have to play him because there's no other replacement. For this series, you'll have to play him. And I think even for the next series in South Africa, you have to back him purely because of what he's done in the past, because also there's no other replacement. There's no other replacement as a captain and there's no other replacement as a number 4. So till the time you don't have a replacement, you will probably have to stick with him regardless of how he scores. But there has to be criticism for the way he got out. Anderson, next day when he was on Sky Sports, he said that people were making a lot out of the delivery seaming away after pitching, and he said it was just a fluke. But if you see where the contact was made between the bat and the ball, where the bat was, he had no business going fishing for that delivery. It was on the 5th stump. He should have ideally left it alone the way he does when he just comes out to bat.
Okay. He has said he wants to drop rather see 2 players going out, Shardul and Siraj. What about you, Naresh?
Yeah, I agree. I would make those changes too.
And you take this both Ashwin and Ishant?
Yeah. Ishant, obviously, Lords, we have seen his history. He's done very well at Lords. So Ishant has to come in. Yeah.
So let's see whether the predictions come right. Charvi, to you.
I think I'm going to be with Gurkirat on that. Shardul and Siraj out for Ashwin and Ishant Sharma in.
So all three of you all are on the same page. Diya, you are the last one.
Okay, I'll go with a different opinion. Like as Virat Kohli already mentioned, I don't think that Ashwin is going to play the next test match. It's going to be just Ravindra Jadeja. So I think Siraj, no. Wait. Okay, yeah, Siraj will be dropped because I think Shardul did a better job. So I think Siraj might be dropped and Ishant will come in. That's the only
Three of you will say 2 players, Shardul and Siraj go out, Ashwin and Ishant come in. She says Siraj goes out and who comes in, Diya?
Ishant.
Ishant comes in. Okay. Quickly, Gurkirat, India or England going to win the test match? India batting करेगी, bowling करेगी, वो नहीं. कौन जीतेगा match? ये draw होगा. 5 sunny days.
You have to say India.
India. Did I hear India?
Yeah, India.
Naresh.
India is winning at Lords.
India is winning it at Lords. It's coming home. Charvi.
India, sir. India.
Diya to definitely mera Bharat man. Diya.
I
She had said India is going to lose last time.
I'll say India is going to lose because I really want them to win. So let's not jinx it.
India is going to lose.
Yes, I think England is going to win.
Oh my God, she is just going all against y'all. She says India is going to lose. 3 of y'all have had the same opinion of the players. Let's see whose prediction comes out.
Just want to add something. Just had this been the first test at Lords, I would have said England. But because it is the second test, the early nerves that are associated with the Indian team is out. And considering that they were in the stronger position, I think they're much better suited and the favorites going into Lords.
Fair enough. Lovely discussion once again with this beautiful panel I have. Everybody has an opinion and everybody has a right to opinion. Nobody is right or wrong. It's all about your passion, and that's what I love about it. Keep it up, guys. We'll catch you probably at the end of the Lord Test match, and which we hope it will be in the favor of India. I'm sorry, Diya, but I'm sure you two also want India to win, but you have your opinion. All right.
And we don't want Root and Rain to be in form.
Rain, as of yesterday, it says 5 sunny days. And we hope it doesn't change in the next few days because rain seems to follow India. Yeah. All right, guys, take care. Stay well. We'll catch up with you at the end of the Lord's Test match. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.